Residual corruption from the Trump era. What's really happening with the mail? This is our Postmaster General, Louis DeJoy. And he's not a nice dude, and he's not a good dude whatsoever. Um, so he's completely corrupt. Everybody's known for a while that he's corrupt. Last year, he was ordering the removal of mail sorting machines in order to intentionally slow down the delivery of mail and make it more difficult to deliver mail-in ballots and get them in on time. Yeah, why is he still here is a fantastic question. The answer lies, and they'll explain, that there are only a certain number of seats on the postal board in order to be able to vote him out. There are, I believe now, it's now a 3-3 vote, and Biden would basically have to expand it in order to vote him off. But he'll begin implementing a plan that will fundamentally alter the core mission, the rapid delivery of first-class mail. Okay, many of the things sent through first-class mail will take much longer to arrive, which is really going to hurt rural areas specifically. Areas not served by FedEx and by UPS also. So prior to October 1st, all domestic first-class mail was supposed to arrive at its destination in 1 to 3 days. And now under the new standard, 31% is now subject to a new standard of 4 to 5 days. And only mail sent to locations within a 3-hour drive is expected to arrive within 2.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, for some this won't be an issue, but what about people in rural areas? The disabled and the elderly will be especially hit hard. All right, and again, Judd Legum, Popular Information, outstanding publication, outstanding investigative work, always brings the receipts, always brings a lot of links, always brings a lot of sources. Reliable. Snarled everything. Yep. A related effort snarled everything. It delayed everything. We know this. It also makes mail-in voting, which Trump has falsely asserted is a vehicle for significant election fraud, more difficult to execute. Excuse me. Okay, the idea behind the slowdown, of course, is to save money, limiting the use of planes to deliver first-class mail and instead relying on ground transport. Okay, why? Because he has a trucking company.
Yeah.
So he wants to put everything. Hey, Jared, welcome. Jared, you got shouted out earlier. We shouted out all the patrons, so thank you. Appreciate your support. So, $169 million savings initiative. That's the estimate by slowing down the mail dramatically. That's expected. Okay, even yes, postal banking is happening. Yes, I did see that that's happening. That's a great thing, but it's also a little concerning about what he's doing here, especially because if people aren't going to get their meds on time, we're going to have some serious issues. So again, these estimated savings may be exaggerated. The PRC, an independent agency that exercises oversight, found the estimated cost savings may be inflated. Several underlying assumptions appear untenable. What a surprise. And they're based on an outlier year when costs and modes were in flux compared to prior years because of the pandemic and because you had mail-in voting for the first time at this, again, due to the pandemic. Right. So again, what's this all about? His plan is part of an overall effort to participate in more fully strengthening the U.S. market for package delivery services. Right. This is another continuation of a crusade that Daryl Issa, and again, this is not something that's listed in the article.
Company, right? Yeah.
Daryl Issa was a representative whose crusade was to destroy and dismantle the post office, mostly because I believe he was a major shareholder or investor in UPS. He might have even been an executive at some point. So he wanted to privatize all of it. And he also
Yeah.
didn't want the cheap competition his his primary investment vehicle. So, yeah, it's heavily subsidized, but look, it's written by Congress. It is in the Constitution that we must provide postal service. But what it doesn't do, again, here, the USPS awarded Expo Logistics, the firm that bought his company and employed him after the sale, were a contract worth 120 million over the next 5 years because he could sign
Yeah.
the contract. He can award it. Okay, he his family foundation have divested, but his family businesses continue to lease 4 North Carolina office buildings to Expo, and those leases could generate up to 23 million in rent payments for the businesses over the next decade. Okay, for a family worth over 150 million dollars, it's not pocket change, but that's a decade. So you're talking a couple $1 million a year in rent payments, but that's in payments. They also have probably mortgages and taxes and expenses. That is a little bit of they're allowed to own real estate. I would contest that, except again that there would be influence and there would definitely be the ability to have conversations with people inside a building that you own.
Yeah.
Okay, they said he did not participate in the procurement process for the Expo contract. He doesn't have to be. We all know. When the boss wants something, there's a way of him making it known without it actually being known. Without. Yeah. It is way better and faster, Jared. You're 100% right. And that's why they're screwing with it.
Yeah.
They're trying to hamstring it because it is federally funded and they can't compete as a private entity against federally funded. But they're also getting clobbered by Amazon.
Yeah.
But don't think Amazon isn't loving this. They've got their own fleet, their own planes. They deliver even faster than the postal service, but the postal service is also one of the biggest. Amazon's one of the biggest users of the U.S. postal service there is.
Yeah.
And part of that, I believe, the whole thing about not wanting to deliver first class mail on airplanes had to do with how much they were doing specifically for Amazon, and everything had to be done
Yeah.
by truck, or it was going to slow it down. Which is partly why you
Yeah.
see Amazon now backing off the 2 day Prime thing.
Yep.
So, you asked the
Yep.
question,
They claim it's for
Darlene.
COVID reasons, but
Here's your answer. The Postmaster General is not appointed by the President. However, it is selected by the Board of Governors. The board decides how long each postmaster stays in the position. At the time of his appointment, there were 6 members, all of whom were appointed by Trump. Biden recently filled 3 vacancies, but Trump's appointees still hold a 6-3 majority, and thus far they seem loyal to DeJoy. Not just loyal, they're loving him. All right. Biden can fire and replace members of the board, but only for cause. Some Democrats are calling on Biden to remove the Trump appointed board members so that new members can oust DeJoy. But it's unclear whether any of the Trump appointed board members have done anything that would justify their removal. Still, without ousting board members, DeJoy supporters could soon be in the minority on the board. Of the 6, one is a holdover member whose term ended last year. Yeah, this is what I don't understand. If he's a holdover member whose term ended last year, why didn't they vote somebody else in? Another one who expires in December, they should have one person already lined up and ready to go and already announced saying that starting in December, this person's taking over. Why haven't they? If Biden replaces these vacancies with new appointees that have a different vision for the Postal Service, his days could be numbered. Everybody, please subscribe, support, like this post for Judd Legum. Again, Joe Mangano, one of my buddies. DeJoy needs to go. The sooner the better. Biden administration can legally affect it, the better. 100%. That's my buddy.
what's that first comment there? The
It was
comment
something
about
about trucks, using trucks.
yeah.
at a
And
time
the
when the
trucking
trucking
industry
industry
doesn't
doesn't
have
have
enough
enough drivers.
drivers.
Yeah, that's a great point. Um, but it's not even just about that. When the airlines could use a boost and wouldn't need to be vaccinated. Yeah, all of those, all of the above. Um, but also think about the pollution. Think about the moving of the fleet to electric that Biden is looking to push and enforce by 2035. I believe that's ready to go. Um,
Right.
but this guy owns a logistics and trucking company. You think that he's trying to? I mean, this was complete bald-faced naked corruption. The decision to make it so that first class mail is only trucked and no longer flown is was definitely a decision made by
Ridiculous.
the top level, by the
Yep.
postmaster, somebody like the postmaster general and that level. So Judd Legum finding what's going on with the mail and appreciate his work, his effort, and his team. Testim Zakaria, Rebecca Crosby, and I can't remember the new person that just came on board. What an operation.